Hi, I'm Lionel Cartwright. Welcome back to Off the Charts. I wanted to have my guest today, Cara Fox, on the show for 3 reasons. Reason number 1, she's one of the best cellists I've ever worked with. Musically, Cara operates at an extremely high level. She's classically trained, so yeah, she's a notation reading machine. But she's also an incredible improviser. She can add phrases, lines, just these ideas to a cello part that isn't written in the part. But once she plays them, you can't imagine the song without them. Those 2 skills don't always live in the same person. Honestly, they rarely do. Reason number 2, Fox Den Strings. Started by Cara and her husband Jared, a fantastic recording engineer, Fox Den Strings is a full-service string ensemble for hire. From the studio they built together, they stay remarkably busy playing on a huge variety of recordings, many you've probably heard. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Nashville, Tokyo, or Budapest, their service is available to artists all over the world. Reason number 3. I'm fascinated by how creative people like Cara and Jared harmonize their professional roles while being parents and partners. For any 2 people in any line of work, that can get tricky, and they navigate it with a lot of intention. There's a lot here from a really interesting, grounded, and wildly talented human being. I think you're going to enjoy my conversation with cellist extraordinaire, mother of 2, marriage partner, and all-around solid citizen, Cara Fox. Cara Fox, it is so good to have you on Off the Charts. You are someone, the first time I heard you play, you're an example of a musical animal that I didn't encounter a lot in my ramp up in this business. But to me, there was always, you had like ear players, you had pop music, people who had learned, those kind of sensibilities. And then you had classical people who read notes. You are one of those rare people that when you add a line, or we used to call them fills, it's like exactly what you want to hear. And I'm super curious, what does your training, your ramp up look like that you were able to obviously sight read like crazy, but also when you're improvising, it's just so tasteful and appropriate. How'd you learn that skill?
Wow. What kind words. I'm really honored that you thought of me, that you would speak so well of what I do. I feel like I have I've been doing this professionally 15 years now. I feel like I have spent that whole 15 years just constantly exploring and continuing to find what is this space that I inhabit as a cellist in Nashville and beyond, because I am classically trained. I actually started on piano when I was 4 or 5 years old, and then started cello when I was 10. And both things I took classical lessons, like private lessons all through middle school, high school, and I ended up studying piano in college. While continuing to play cello, but I was at the time more focused on piano. And the thing that happened there actually in college, I started playing cello outside of the classical context. I didn't have the capacity to continue lessons on cello, but I ended up playing in praise and worship bands at my school, and with vocalists, doing a special song in chapel, stuff like that, where maybe they'd give me a chord chart, or it was just kind of a song that I was already familiar with. And I just slowly started figuring out how do I play cello when there's drums, bass, guitar, keys happening? So that was like the first place where I had to explore what that would look like. And I think because of my classical training, I felt comfortable all over the instrument, to where I wasn't having to think about any of the technique of it anymore. But just really like exploring sonically where do I fit in with all of this stuff that's already happening. So maybe this is a long answer to that question, but
no, it's great.
I think in college, like playing in a few of those bands, is where I first started figuring out what cello might look like in a more commercial or pop music kind of space. And then I was like, this is cool. I really like this. I got to do a couple recording sessions in college. And so that's where I thought, maybe I'll go to Nashville because I know that's where a lot of music is recorded. Just see what happens there. And yeah, here we are. We can get into it a little more, but it has just been a very long and wonderful, fulfilling process so far of maybe carving my own path a little bit as a string player, I hope. But yeah, just kind of exploring how cello fits into all these genres.
Well, I definitely think you've done that, and your resume really speaks to that. I'm not going to name names, but I have some friends of mine have worked with some like world famous cello players in some really interesting hybrid stylistic, endeavors. But they told me, as I was impressed with what sounded like non-notated parts, like the more improvisational parts of the recordings. And they said, oh, no, that was all written out.
Yeah.
And not to take anything away from anybody, because I came up, Cara, I learned how to play by listening to records. I came up kind of in the country music ramp, but then I would say the past 25 years, I've done a lot of composing for television, and my parameters stylistically went like that, and I've so enjoyed it, and actually kind of found out my software was more than country music, although I still love it. But it's really been fun to go into these different stylistic neighborhoods. And so when the first time I heard you, and I think I had handed you a notated part and asked you to improvise where you felt it was appropriate, but what you improvised that was not notated, I was like, oh my gosh, she does both. And I've just found that to be pretty rare, not to diminish either of those skills, but I'm just kind of in awe of folks like you that do that so seamlessly.
I mean, it's interesting. I do feel like people kind of come up one way or the other in learning music. I was taught sight reading. Everything I did was reading the page. And that actually comes really naturally to me. I am a good sight reader, maybe just because that's my training. And then I think maybe you represent kind of the other way of coming up in music of just learning everything by ear and instinct.
Yes.
And neither of those things, it's not good or bad, right or wrong. And you don't have to be stuck in one place. I think I kind of recognized at that point in college of trying to learn to play with a band, I realized I could play by ear. And, on piano, I had learned how to play chords and I was writing songs at the time. So I think I had been developing my ear without realizing it. And, you have oral skills classes in college. So it's like you're exercising kind of both maybe halves of your brain, both of those things. But like playing in a band, I realized, okay, these work together. Like yeah, I can just play root notes on everything. But then I started just hearing where are those moments that I can copy the lead line that's already there or a counter melody. Like it really just came by repetition and realizing, oh, I can use my ear. I can use my instinct. It's there. And get out of the box a little bit, even though that's still not my comfort zone a lot of the time. I love having notes on the page in front of me at the end of the day, but it's kind of realizing and learning you can do both, you know.
I think even in pop music, right, through the years, we've seen more and more cello not just doubling the bass part or not just holding down the bass root or the alternative note, whatever. I tend to be a fan of hybrid styles, and I love bringing a cello into a pop or country song. I think it's just an amazing coming together of worlds.
Yeah, I agree. It has just continued to blow me away, the different opportunities that I get to have here and there in different genres, and how flexible of an instrument cello really is, and strings in general, I think.
Yes.
But, you know, there are a couple like incredible bluegrass cellists out there. That's a skill set I wish I had. But it really is a different kind of technique, a whole different approach to the instrument. But they play it like a fiddle, essentially, like a bluegrass fiddle, you know, chopping, very rhythmic, and it blows me away. So just to say that cello can do anything. It's amazing.
It really is. I've always said that my two favorite sounds in the world are, one, the cello, and two, Thich Nhat Hanh's voice. But that's for another episode.
I like that. Okay.
Are you if you're familiar with his voice, it's...
Well, I haven't heard his voice. I've read his stuff, but...
Yeah, same. He's all over YouTube. In fact, Plum Village has a YouTube channel, so you can pull down, or you can go watch any number of videos with him talking. And it's, Cara, it's just instantaneous. I hear that sound, Thich Nhat Hanh's voice, and it's almost like a meditation. It just instantly just calms.
Oh, I bet.
And brings clarity. It's remarkable. But
wow.
I should do an episode on that sometime.
Totally. Well, there might be something there too with like the sound of the cello, and in your case, Thich Nhat Hanh's voice. But I have heard that the cello is the instrument most similar to the human voice, and you know, probably the equivalent of like a baritone voice, but I hear it constantly everywhere I go. Everybody just swooning over the cello and saying it's my favorite instrument. It just does something to me. It's like, it does have some kind of like soul level connection. I think just the timbre and the tone of the instrument. So
100%.
There's something there.
Every time I play any kind of engagement where there's a cello and it's at sound check, let's just say it's at sound check. And you know, you're getting drum sounds, you're getting guitar sounds and piano sounds. As soon as the cello plays one note, this has happened way more than not. Everybody stops and like, oh, there's something about that sound for sure. Cara, the idea that inspired this podcast was to re-examine creative success. You have done something, and I think it's you and your husband, right?
Right.
With Fox Den Strings. I love musician entrepreneurs. And what you all have done, making available world-class string parts without someone having to rent a studio. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love it. I love going into a big studio. But I'm just a fan of what you guys are doing, and I think it speaks to possibilities for musicians to look beyond just going on the road or getting hired for a session, to figure out other ways of employing your skills. I would love to hear how Fox Den Strings came about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still kind of crazy to me how it came about. It feels like it kind of dropped in my lap, even though it's named after me and Jared. The idea was given to me. But I'll back up a little bit to say I did spend quite a few years mainly on the road touring. And I loved that experience so much. Shaped me in a lot of ways. And then around 2017, Jared and I started, talking about having kids and what that might look like. Unfortunately, it's not very easy as like a side woman musician to like take your kids on the road with you because you're on somebody else's dime essentially. So we knew that it might mean a transition off the road. And that ended up happening pretty naturally for us. I had my first kid at the end of 2017, and just started like letting people know, hey, I can record at home if that ever makes more sense for you. My husband is an audio engineer, so he helped me like dial in my setup. Like I think I had I still really just use two mics for my cello tracking, but like he helped me get two mics set up. I learned Logic little by little, on my own, just kind of through YouTube videos. And so I started recording myself here and there with some like trusted producers that, gave me some feedback on what to try differently or what's great, what's not great, needs some work, whatever. And that really started taking off for me, just like remote cello tracking. And
totally,
I was doing it on my own. My husband would be in his room mixing. I'd be in my room tracking, like kind of doing our own thing. And then COVID, of course, happened and changed everything. But that actually served to kind of like solidify what I was already doing in kind of the remote recording space. And in 2020, we moved and bought this house that we're in now. We gutted the studio space that was there and redid it kind of to our needs, to have like a separate control room, mix room, and then our live room. Here, I'll angle this a little bit just so you can get a peek. It's a mess right now. We had a band tracking day recently, but this is our live room. There's drums set up down there, piano. And then love it. An ISO booth behind me. So most of the time I'm set up in here recording, Jared's in there mixing, but I was working with a couple good friends of mine that we write music together, and we were here in this room, and they were talking about strings and how one of them was starting to send some music over to Prague to get an orchestra recorded on his songs. And we were just talking about the different ways that people are going for that orchestral sound specifically. And one of the guys was like, Cara, you could do that here. You guys have this pretty big space now. Your husband is an engineer. It's like, this is like ready to go. And it just really sparked something in me thinking about that. And I was like, oh my gosh, we could do this. Why aren't we doing this? I was already doing remote cello and had built up a good clientele doing that. So I just like immediately reached out to really three of my favorite like go-to string players, a couple of my favorite violinists and one viola, like to just form a quartet to start with. And we offered it up as like a once a month string tracking day, kind of one-stop shop. You send your song. If you need an arrangement, we can do the arrangement in-house, which I do a lot of our arranging. And then it's a set cost for the most part that includes the studio, the engineer, the players, the contracting. Like it's one fee that covers everything. And we'll record a beautiful product and send it back. We do have a lot of clients that, like, if they're in town, they like to come in person and still experience it, which is awesome, but we can just fill in a tracking day with, we usually cap it at like 7 or 8 songs. So we still have space to give it all like good individualized attention. But just stack up some parts for like a nice ensemble sound when needed, and get a bunch of beautiful strings tracked for people generally once a month. So that has been such a wonderful surprise, just that it was like mentioned to me and I was like, oh, duh, like, let's do this. And then it has absolutely worked. And I feel like we've kind of been able to find a sweet spot and like a middle ground between people that would send their music over to Prague or London or whoever to do an orchestra versus, me stacking up a few cellos. It's kind of, there's this middle ground that we're trying to occupy of like, you can do just a really nice string quartet, or we can stack it a couple times so it's an ensemble sound, but you're getting players in the room together, and like the chemistry and the magic that only really comes with that, but at a hopefully kind of affordable rate for most projects.
Absolutely. Do you feel Nashville's always had great string players, but it seems like the quantity of great string players has increased. Is that right?
It sure feels like it to me. I mean, I have not been in the symphonic music world hardly at all since moving to Nashville in 2007. I did kind of a community orchestra when I first moved out here, but I kind of quickly realized my lane is like freelance cellist, improvising, playing by ear. So, I don't really do much kind of in the orchestral sense. So I can't speak to that side of things as much, but from like the people I met, the string players I met in my early years in town, to now, obviously Nashville itself has grown like crazy.
Yes.
And I think it's attracting more and more musicians of all kinds, string players included. Like, I'll talk to other players and they say, do you know so-and-so? Have you met so-and-so? And like, I haven't. I'm kind of in my own little hole here in my studio so much of the time, but there's just a huge string community here now of really talented people. I'm always meeting more and more. So I think it's actually a really exciting prospect for Nashville as far as being a destination for really great quality string music, because I think we could, in my room, we did 9 players a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
So it's like you can get maybe a smaller ensemble of just killer players. But I also think we could fill a soundstage with a 40-piece orchestra of just absolute killer players. And so I'm hoping that trend kind of continues and more people are seeking out Nashville string players. I don't know. I get excited about this like little space that Foxton Strings is occupying. Of obviously we can't fit a whole orchestra in here, and we're not trying to, but all of our players have kind of this same sensibility. Pretty much all of them can easily play by ear and come up with parts. So I think we're able to approach recording strings in a unique way there, that it's like maybe we have the parts written out and we play those and it's awesome, but then somebody's like, hey, I think we could just do a little tremolo layer over this spot and it would really add.
Wow.
And there's kind of that space to like throw in some ideas and create textural elements and things we can kind of come up with on the spot, that you're not locked into like, hey, we have this huge orchestra for 1 hour. We got to get these parts done. It's like there is room for some of that creativity in the moment also. That's, again, like kind of that unique Nashville string thing, kind of this middle ground of like, we're not just classical musicians. We're artists and creators in our own right.
Without a doubt. And okay, yeah, if you're doing like a big Hollywood thing, but wouldn't you say, seems to me, 80%, maybe 90% of all pop music, rock music, country I would even include as well. When you hear a string section on those styles, it's usually a quartet. Is that right?
I mean, it really depends. I think you might be surprised how much of it could just be somebody tracking alone remotely by themselves and like stacking it up. And I mean, I know there even artists that record an orchestra, they might still have their like VST strings tucked in there. I mean, Jared mixes a whole lot of orchestration kind of stuff, and that's pretty common. So it spans the gamut, which I think is kind of fun. It's like, again, there can be some creative approaches and input just depending how you're recording something, what you might add into it later on. Like, you can kind of make anything work these days, which is, I don't know, pros and cons. I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, I think what you're doing just makes it so much more accessible. And I love checking out your Instagram, especially when you post videos of you guys doing your sessions. It sounds phenomenal. And
awesome.
then when you stack those, or like you're saying, doing some creative kind of stacking even, it's just undeniable. What you guys are doing it's so state of the art. And as I said, I just love creative pairings of strings with bluegrass or strings with a country ballad. Or I think where I really fell in love with that, Cara, I was a big Elton John fan. And I kind of came of musical age in the 70s. And I was blown away by the string arrangements on those songs. They so weren't just a bad playing the chord. They really were like another voice, almost like another lead guitar. And I've heard what you guys do, and you do such creative arrangements. And I think it really shows that multi-skill, that multi-level skill that you guys bring of being able to play a nail notation, but also contribute some creativity like a guitar player would, or like a piano player would. That comes across so strong, and is it powerful.
Yeah, I love to hear that. I mean, I think, speaking for myself, but also for kind of our regular rotation of string players here, I think we all feel really comfortable at this point also in bringing in just kind of our own voices. You know, one of my like favorite violinists that I've played with for years and years, she'll do just like a portamento slide in between notes now and then that I'm like, that's exactly what it needed. And I didn't write that in the chart, but like, it's just kind of that instinct. And so to have a space here and like, enough freedom to just throw in those moments, I think everybody still gets to have their voice in the mix, which is super cool. And I think it creates a unique product, something special that we can offer.
I agree. It's super cool. And instead of just a layer of sound, it adds layers of soul. It just contributes on a soul level. It just really speaks in the final, master. Just love it. I'm also really curious because it sounds like you stay really busy, and it sounds like Jared stays really busy. So how do you, I like the word harmonize instead of balance. How do you harmonize, Cara, your other roles of being a mother, being a spouse, even being a friend, having relationships? Because Nashville is, I remember reading in the Nashville scene one time, it said, Nashville's not just the championship, it's the Olympics. It's we all are go, stay busy. So I know I've gotten to talk with you a little bit about you being a mother and when the boys were born, and how have you fleshed that out to Because it can be challenging, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. And in some ways it felt kind of like uncharted territory. I didn't have many friends like that do what I do as kind of sideman musician, that had kids before me. And so it was just like a huge leap of faith to just say, we're going to try and have kids and just see what happens and how we can make this work. And I mean, when I had my first, I was actually kind of open at first to, if I just love being a mom so much that I'm willing to just give that all of my time, maybe my music career will like fall away a little bit. And I was okay with that. Then I had my baby and I was like, oh my gosh, who am I? Like, you can lose yourself so quickly, especially in kind of the early postpartum days. And I'll never forget, like just a few weeks after my baby was born, during a nap, like a short little nap was all he ever did. I went down to the studio and recorded on a song, and I was still technically on the maternity leave I had planned for myself. If you're going to have maternity leave as a self-employed musician, you make it happen. But I wanted to go to the studio. I just sat down and recorded a simple part, and it was such a deep breath to me of like, oh, there I am. Like, I'm still here. And this truly is like the thing that I love to do. This baby is my world, but how, like, I want to make this work. I want to figure this out. Both of these things are of ultimate importance to me. So my oldest is now 7, almost 8. And I also have a 4-year-old, 2 boys. And so they're rowdy, and we're starting to get busy with some sports and stuff. But really for the last 7 years, it's just been a day at a time, like figuring it out, with Jared, with our community of people around us. We've been really fortunate that we had some really strong friendships even before having kids. And a lot of those people did have kids before us, and they kind of saw where we were in each stage and just would come along and like, hey, send your kid over here for a couple hours so you can go do what you need to do. Or like a friend coming here to watch the baby, like in the early days, just helping us, supporting us. And then like, we just slowly figured out, okay, let's put them in a mom's day out, kind of a preschool thing for 2 days a week. Okay, maybe we can do 3 days a week. And, I have to really focus and be efficient to kind of keep up with my work during those windows, or I'm working after they go to bed at night. Like, it's just a puzzle every day, of kind of like finding windows to work, of Jared and I supporting each other, and like sometimes having to decide who gets to work today, who's with the kids today, or like just lots of communication, lots of trading off. And I don't know, it's starting to get a little easier as they get older, and of course they go to school more full time. But it's kind of crazy to me that we have made it work the way we have. And we've had to lean on our people a lot, neighbors, friends, like lots of babysitters and daycare expenses, which isn't fun. None of that's fun to pay for, but it's like, I don't know. I think it's important as a mom. I think it's important for my kids to see me doing what I love. It happens to be my career, but I also play tennis for fun, and like I go play once or twice a week. But just like for my kids to witness me caring for myself in those ways, and like doing what reminds me who I am, not just mom Cara, but like who I am, who I've always been, like just bringing me back to myself. I'm a better parent for being able to go off and do those things. So Yeah, maybe a rambling answer, but that's my mom brain for sure.
Wow, that's so good. It sounds like I get this. I mean, we have 2 grown kids, and it's challenging, right, to do this. Especially, I came off the road. I think it would be more challenging being on the road, which you've done.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like there needs to be a lot of understanding, given that Jared and you work largely in different capacities. He's mixing, or you're overdubbing, you're recording. To work that out, I love what you're saying. It's a day-by-day thing. There's no, here's our plan. This is what we do on Mondays, what we do on Thursdays. I've never found that to be workable.
Yeah. And we don't have any family in town. My parents are in Missouri, his are in Oklahoma. So unfortunately, we don't have kind of that built-in system locally. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like a day at a time solving it. And, I have to sing his praises too, because I do still travel here and there. I was gone the past 2 weekends for like a night or two for a show. And I have absolutely no, fear, no issue of just, they have a boys' weekend and he takes care of everything. And, he's an incredible partner and dad. And so it's not just kind of like the business world. It's all the things. We just, are sharing the load the best we know how.
Right. Yeah. Sounds like Jared's very aware, and you just navigate it, right? You just navigate it literally day by day.
Yeah. It is crazy. It's insanity. I don't know how we're doing it, but we're doing it.
Well, and I think, you're talking about your kids seeing you do something you love to do, your kids seeing you work. And I even think it's helpful for the kids to see you guys navigating all this. That's like an education in and of itself.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting too. I grew up, and Jared grew up with, both of our parents like leaving in the morning, working kind of a regular 9 to 5 and coming home. And that's just not our world now. Like, we've just had to figure out what this like self-employed life looks like because nobody taught us how. And, my 7-year-old in particular, he hates when I have to go off for a gig, whether I'm out of town or not. If I'm leaving the house, he's like, "Oh, I don't like your job. Don't go out." And I'm like, "Norman, do you understand? Like, if I had a 9 to 5, you would see me actually a lot less. Like, I pick him up from school every day. I see him get on the bus in the morning. I pick him up, and we get most weekends together. So it's like I leave for these little windows of time, and maybe someday he'll realize how good he has it that we're both like here in the house almost all the time. We're here for him."
Oh, I think there's no doubt. There's no question that they'll realize it. I mean, it may be 10, 15 years down the road, but they will realize it, and they will have felt the love that you poured into just managing your schedule. But still being a very hands-on, present. I'll tell you what, Cara, I'm a little older than you, maybe a lot, I don't know. But I wouldn't trade anything. My segue from being an artist and being on the road and having songs on the radio, which was wonderful. It was a wonderful little chapter of my life. But when I went more to the composing side of things and was able to take the kids to school, to be on Pops Patrol in the morning, to really be involved in their lives I wouldn't trade anything for that. And
Yeah.
ours too would see me once in a while, it got less and less, but going out doing a show, it's a challenging lifestyle. And needless to say, it sounds like Fox Den Strings stays really busy, but you have there's no way of knowing a month or two or, in the foreseeable future, what that's going to look like, your schedule.
Yeah. 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 I mean, if we had any kind of typical day, this might be it. Our youngest is at preschool today. He goes 3 days a week right now. So I dropped him off. I came home. I got right to work. It's like, I know that I have these few hours while he's at school. Today, I'm just chipping away at arranging. We have a session coming up in a couple weeks. We're going to have a day with the quartet, and then we're going to have a day with an octet.
Oh,
so nice. I have about 8 arrangements to do in the next couple of weeks to get ready for that. So my whole schedule is arranging. So I'm just chipping away at that. I'll quit at 3:00, go pick up one kid, then a little later go pick the other kid up. And then I'm kind of in mom mode, So this is a typical day if there is one for us.
I would also think that your skill level is a huge factor in this, in that you can go in and knock out a part or write an arrangement. It would be hard if that just took hours and hours, but having worked with you quite a few times now, I mean, bam, you put it down and, 1 or 2 takes, you're done, you move on. I think that skill level, and I'm sure with Jared too, plays a big part in making this work.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I laugh about it because I say that I prize efficiency, which is true. Like, okay, I have to be efficient to kind of stay caught up with what I'm doing. So yeah, I mean, I have gotten to the point over these few years that I can write out. I actually draw in MIDI in Logic to write parts for myself. I don't even play them in on a keyboard. I draw the MIDI, which seems laborious, but I've gotten really fast at it. So it's like, I'll listen through a song, kind of hear a part and draw it out. And then I'll turn over to my mics. And if it's a solo part, I'll probably go through and do 3, maybe 4 takes of it, and then a quick comp. And I can work through things pretty quickly. It's like when I'm playing, I know what's going to work or what's not. I know what's a good take and what's not. So sometimes I'm like, I don't want them to know how quickly I just did this song. But I mean, I guess that's a tribute to how much I'm doing it, how much I've done it. Like, I know how to work quickly and still create a really good product, because my time is super valuable. It's limited. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you talking about in Logic, the piano roll editor where you can write in? That's insane.
Isn't that crazy? I know.
Oh my God.
I know. I just find that if I'm hearing a line, I don't want to have to go back to this marker, hit record, play it, quantize it, make sure it's right. It's I think for me, it's faster. I hear it. I know what it needs to look like on the piano roll. I just draw it.
That is so cool.
It's kind of its own language, I think.
Yeah.
That I've just kind of figured out. I don't know.
Wouldn't you say, to a large extent, the hard disk recording that we've been able to set up in our homes has just empowered us to such a degree? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's really interesting how this has developed over the last, 8 years or so for me. First of all, out of necessity, I guess, of I have to find a way to work from home more so I can be home and have a kid. But really how that has also given space for me creatively in ways I wouldn't otherwise have, because I think I had done some string arranging before, but now it's like, well, I'm going to record strings at my home, whether it's me doing a bunch of cellos or an ensemble, and I'm going to create parts for that. I'm going to then create charts that look nice that everybody can read. It's like, that's a whole aspect of string recording that I just hadn't really explored before. And now I'm pretty well versed at it. It just like naturally developed out of necessity almost. So it has kind of changed even how I see myself as a creative person. It's like, yeah, I'm not writing songs like from scratch, music and lyrics, but my creative output and then input is like, I get to create string parts usually on somebody else's music. And that's my favorite thing, is like, I like having some boundaries, some rules to work within. So like, you're giving me a song that already exists, but I get to like offer my expertise, my creative energies to elevate it, or maybe add a little something that just wasn't there before, and just take it the next step. I don't know that any of that that I would have even been aware of my role in things like that without having my own home recording setup and just kind of figuring out, oh, this is my niche. This is what I'm doing. It's been incredibly fulfilling for me and something I would never have dreamed of when I moved to Nashville. Yeah.
1,000% ditto, ditto, ditto. It's taken me places I never would have thought I would go. Hey, quick geek question. Do you print your scores out of Logic, or do you use another app to write the actual parts that the people are reading?
I do it all in Logic.
Same.
I'm a bit of you do too. That's right. I think we're kind of unicorns in the scoring world. Because I think most people were using Finale. Finale went, whatever. Now it's Dorico, Sibelius. Right. I had an old version of Finale a long time ago, and it drove me nuts. That you couldn't load in an MP3, create a tempo map, and line your parts up to it. Or maybe you could, but I could not figure it out. I'm like, it should not be this hard. So that I just learned Logic the first time, trying to create charts, but be able to work with an MP3 and tempo map. And then I just got comfortable in Logic, and I was like, this does everything I need it to do for scoring, like all of the notation and marks. And some of it's a little quirky, but you kind of find your workarounds. I still have to Google something now and then on scoring stuff. But no, I mean, for me, it's great. I'm not doing full orchestrations. It's all just like string arranging. So it suits my needs perfectly. I
agree. I'm kind of thrilled to hear you say that, because the thing I loved about Logic, and I have kind of found out through the grapevine that there's a lot more people that do what we do in LA that use Logic. I think Pro Tools got to Nashville really early, like in the whole digital migration. Mm-hmm. And I get it. It's great. But man, I love that in Logic, I can go from the main page to the piano roll page to the scoring. It's all one. It's just all right there. And my parts that are recorded are all there. It's just been, for me, it was the keys to the highway. And I remember Steve Jobs saying early on, somebody asked him, it was a Q&A, and they said, do you see this helping business? Do you see this helping blah, blah, blah? And he said, I really think it's going to help creators. And I think we've seen that. Again, I'm older, but listen, I remember coming up through the ranks. To get into a studio was a big deal. It was not an inexpensive proposition, so to have all these tools. And I would love to hear what you would say, Cara, as we wrap up here. What would you say to that musician who's not in a music hub, that feels like they might have a gift for this, and they want to exercise that gift? They're not sure they want to move to LA or Nashville yet. What words of advice, as far as developing musically, as far as being able to employ some of this technology, what would that look like for a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, even a 25-year-old right now?
Oh, man. I mean, okay, even speaking generationally, a 15 or 20-year-old right now already knows more about technology than I do as a 40-year-old. I mean, to be fair. So for me, in my craft, as far as technology, I've learned what is necessary and what is most helpful for me to do what I do. I don't geek out over it. Like, Jared loves to research gears, microphones, guitars, all of it, gear, plugins, preamps, mics, all of it. And like my eyes glaze over. So I'm like, I've got my setup. It sounds good. I'm fine. I'm kind of just not doing bare minimum, but like doing what I know works well for me. I think it's not going to be a struggle to learn the technology for people. It's not going to be a struggle for most to have access to information. We have access to too much information at this point. But let that like be what it is, whatever you need to serve you. But like, let your craft be your craft. If it's your instrument, learn your instrument as well as you possibly can, and that does mean having an instructor. And I'm not anti virtual lessons. Like, if all you can have is a virtual lesson on your instrument, absolutely do that. If an in-person lesson is available, even better. Have somebody who knows more than you do watching you play, hearing you sing, whatever, and listen. Like, do everything you can to fine tune your craft, your instrument, your voice, because, like, you can do a lot with technology, but I still think, as scared as we all are of AI right now, I still think the human voice, the human element is always going to win out. Everybody is craving it like crazy. And that's what we're looking for in the midst of all of the other noise. So for me, my voice is my cello, and the tone and the parts that I'm able to create on that instrument. And I can only do that because I spent years studying and learning from multiple teachers, sitting down and playing with other cellists, other string players, and learning from them, just the experience of playing alongside people. So I think it probably really boils down to like doing everything you can to be your best at your instrument, and like everything else is kind of periphery. Like, technology is going to be there for you to do what you need to do to record or broadcast or whatever it is. But like, find your voice in your instrument and let that be the truth and the human element of what you're doing.
That's so good. That's so good. I totally subscribe to what you're saying. Get good instructors, play with people who are better than you are if you can. Yeah. But I would add to that, don't be intimidated. If the technology can serve you or help get you to that next level, don't even be intimidated by it, because like, you don't have to be a Jared, right? And learn about mic pre's and EQ and compression, unless you want to. Yeah. But man, I just feel like it's that whole compendium of things can really make for a rich musical life and an informed, really developed skill.
Yeah. Yeah. I think any of it, if there's a way to use it to better yourself, better your craft, and thus better the world, absolutely. I think we should avail ourselves to all the resources that we have. And maybe that's just a MacBook in your basement and some tiny little mic that you figure out how to plug into it. That's awesome. That's what you've got. That. Use it.
It could be GarageBand, right? Just
right.
Plug into GarageBand and hear yourself back.
Right.
Well, Cara, I love what you just said, and I feel you doing that through your voice as a cellist, as a mom, as a partner, as a friend. I do think you're making the world a better place in the art that you're making. And I just got to go back to Fox Den Strings, to this amazing service you're providing that allows anybody anywhere to send you a song and they can get world-class strings on it. It's a remarkable service, and I'll have some video here on the intro and outro that we can share with people. But it's an amazing thing you do, my friend. I'm so glad to have met you, and I love seeing inside your world. It's inspiring, and it makes me want to do better.
Thank you. It's just such an honor to hear such sweet things about what I do and what's my job day to day. It's I hope that it does make any kind of impact in the world, and just really honored that you would say so, and lovely to chat with you, Lionel. Thanks for having me.
It's always rewarding to sit down with someone whose skill level you admire, someone who makes what they do look effortless, all while blending this deep musical life with being a mother and a partner. I'm a solid fan. I want to encourage you to check out Fox Den Strings and follow Cara on social media. I'll put all the links in the show notes and in the YouTube description. What she and Jared create together, it's truly remarkable. Thanks for jumping in with me. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Don't just be a spectator. Find your creative outlet and go make something.